session. On 4th February, we celebrate World Cancer Day. So a day that unites people, a day that we raise awareness and take action. Now, today, we have also decided to raise awareness, take action towards cancer by having a session on nutrition and cancer. We have a very experienced dietitian who is not new here because I've had him here twice or so in the past to lead today's session talking about nutrition and cancer. I'm hoping that Wise would also share some experiences from his clinic on the relationship between nutrition and cancer as he discusses the topic. So wherever you are, please do join us. If you're not on the Zoom call, you can still join us on YouTube and Facebook. Send us your questions, your comments, and we will address these for you. So on this note, I would like to call our dietitian Wise to do his presentation. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Hibbah. And I must say Happy New Year to you. Because this
Happy
is the
New
first
Year.
time interacting this year. I'm happy to be here again. I've just shared my slides. Is it visible?
Yes, it is.
Good, good. So the topic nutrition and cancer is a broad one, very, very broad. I'm sure we'll need more than 365 days to fully discuss it. But then I'll try and make it interesting, make it or draw certain relations that we can remember always, so we can pick some vital lessons that will help us in our walk on earth, so that we can actually contribute to winning the battle against cancer. Anytime the issue of cancer comes up, I just always pray and wish that one day we hear that a solution, whether medicine or dietary, has been found as a cure to cancers. But we are not there yet. Now we have to keep managing issues relating to cancer. Basically, this is what my discussion will be centered around. I'll just do a brief overview of what cancer is. I'm not a cancer specialist in any way, but I'll try and do a few definitions and then say a few things about cancer. Then we zoom into prevention, where I will limit it to my field, dietary factors that can aid in preventing cancer, and a few other lifestyle factors that I may not even say so much about, but then I'll talk about cancer prevention. And also we'll discuss a bit about effect of cancer treatment on food intake. That is where a lot of the challenges emanate from when we manage people or patients who are suffering from cancers. What effect does the treatment modality have on their ability to eat or not to eat? And I'll say a lot about eating healthy to reduce cancer risk, and also say something about some myths, dietary myths about cancers. We hear every now and then that this food causes cancer, this one doesn't, and all those kind of things. So I'll say a little about that as well. And then zoom straight into medical nutrition therapy, how cancer cases are managed with nutrition as part of a multidisciplinary team with all the specialists, the doctors, and then the nutrition aspect as well. And cap it all with some tips on making eating easier, because food intake during cancer treatment and management is a big deal. So what are some few 5-6 tips that we can take home just to help us in that direction? So what is cancer? It's a disease resulting from uncontrolled growth and division of abnormal cells. So the human body is made up of cells, as the basic units. And these cells divide, they come together, they form tissues and all that. And when those divisions and formation of tissues go the wrong way, then there can be cancers. When we talk about cancer symptoms, they are variable depending on, you see symptoms depending on the type of cancer and then the site and whether it has spread or not. So there's lump growths that are persistent, sometimes visible enough to be removed by surgery. There's also weight loss, unexplained weight loss, and some changes in the body. It could be vision, it could be headache, it could be stomach aches, a lot of symptoms that come with cancers. But a lot of the time, people are not, doctors don't even just use the symptoms. They have to combine symptoms with diagnostic tests or images. So scans and then blood tests and all that before cancers are diagnosed. There's actually no known cause for most cancers or for cancers, but they are thought to be associated or related. Their cause is related to gene mutations that may result from exposure to chemicals, cancer-causing agents, and radiation and other things. I know that a lot of people know that they have to protect themselves from the harsh rays of sunlight so that they can prevent skin cancers, for example. So obviously there are issues with programming of how the body should grow, and then that results in cancers. Now, treatments may include surgery, whereby surgeons go directly to pick the lumps or the cancer cells out of where they are, and they locate them through scans, CT scans, MRI tests, and all that. And then there's also chemical or medicinal treatment, chemotherapy. There are other targeted therapies that can be employed, radiotherapy, and palliative care, where the cancer has gotten to a stage whereby the person can only be helped to enjoy life whilst it is still available, and until they pass on. Now, if cancers are detected early, there's a high chance of survival. So everybody is supposed to take medical screening and all that. Actually, one of the things that we need to do to prevent cancers is early screening, or screening, let me put it that way, so that it can be detected early and then treatment can start. Because I've come across a lot of people who have had lumps removed from their breasts, who have had certain cancers taken out of their small or large intestines and all that. They are living because it was detected early, it had not spread, so that it will cause more damaging effects to the human body. Now, how do we prevent cancer? Tobacco usage. Smoking has been linked to many cancers, including cancers of not only of the lung, but the throat, voice box, pancreas, bladder, cervix, even kidneys, inside the kidneys. Even being around a secondhand smoke might increase the risk of lung cancer. So secondhand smoke simply means someone is smoking, you are not the one holding the stick, but then you inhale the smoke that he takes in and brings out. That can also be very dangerous. So tobacco usage, once it's curtailed or stopped or avoided, can really, really help in cancer prevention. And eating healthy foods, I'll throw a lot of light on that in the next 2 slides or so. Actually, eating healthy can't ensure that nobody gets cancer, because when people even develop cancers, we don't know how they got it. But there's the likelihood that choosing the right foods or choosing to eat healthy can reduce the risk or cancer risk. So it has to be considered. I'll consider I'll give more details in, I think, the next 2 slides or so. Then maintaining a healthy weight. Being overweight or obese being obese has been associated with a lot of cancer or cancer risk. So the aim should be, first of all, to decline the BMI ladder, and then secondly, to aim to be of a normal weight for height. So these are some examples of cancers that have been linked with being obese: breast cancer, prostate, lung cancer, colon, the kidney, etc. There are others that are not even part of this list. Now, what do I mean by declining the BMI ladder? If you are class 2, or let's say class 3 or morbidly obese, you must first of all aim to reduce weight to become class 2 obese. So you reduce your body mass index from above 40 to below 40, maybe 35 to 40. And then if yours is in class 2 range, that is 45 to 49, sorry, 35 to 39 thereabout, you aim to drop down one step to 30 to 35. And then if it's between 30 to 35, first of all, aim to drop down one step to below 30. If you are within the overweight range, you also aim to drop a step backwards to normal weight. And if you are underweight, you aim to also have enough weight, because being underweight is also associated with a similar health risk that overweight can predispose people to. So all of us must aim to be within a normal weight range. So what you have to do to ensure that you have the normal weight for your height, it's very, very important when it even comes to cancer prevention, as well as other non-communicable disease prevention or management. Now, being physically active, exercise is one of the proven and potent ways to reduce cancer risk. Because exercise does a whole lot for the body. I just spoke about weight loss. And if you're going to be able to lose weight, then you need exercise and a diet plan. So the two work in tandem to help you reduce weight. So you lose the weight, it will help you with benefits of being able to prevent cancers. And then exercise in itself can improve muscle activity, can help even remove free radicals from the system, can improve heart rate, improve circulation, improve excretion. So it just helps the body to get rid of toxic and dangerous substances. And it's a very, very good way to be ahead of cancer prevention. And regular medical care, I mentioned earlier that one of the things to do to prevent cancer is to screen, so that when it's detected, sometimes the lumps will be there, they haven't become cancerous yet, they can be taken out and then you'll be free. So doing regular self-exams and having screenings for cancers such as cancer of the skin, the colon, cervix, and breast can raise the chances of finding cancer early. That's when treatment is most likely to succeed. As a healthcare provider, about the best cancer screening schedule. So you go into wellness programs in hospitals, cancer screening is also part. And we all are witness to what happens in October, when there is Pink October, breast examination, and a lot of the breast examination drives that have been part of have actually detected lumps. Some of them have been found to be actual cancers within the breast of people. So common breast examination has saved a lot of people. And I'm usually part of those campaigns because I do presentations on nutrition and diet to prevent or to manage cancer. So every October, we are always busy. Whilst the nurses and the other specialists are screening the breast, we are doing the BMIs and then screening and giving tips on prevention here and there. Now, alcohol abuse.
Sorry, Wise. Excuse me. I have a question that has been sent to me, and it reads, you mentioned that we don't know the causes of cancer. So how does healthy eating help reduce our risk? That's a good question. I don't know if you're going to be touching on it, but I usually want people to send their questions as we go along. Yeah. So that's just one question. If you're going to touch on it, that's fine.
Yeah, sure. I think the next slide also will share throw more light on that. But then just a little before we get there, well, the literature has it that eating healthy can actually make you stronger and give you a stronger immune system. And also anything that will make you healthy can actually help prevent cancers as well, right? Even though it's not concrete that if you eat healthy, you're preventing cancers. Certain cancers will come no matter what. But then if you eat healthy, you stand a chance of pushing some, I do call them small boy cancers, that if they are not given so much room to operate, the body can actually deal with the situation. And that having a strong immune system can also tell the difference between how cancer affects people. So what are the outcomes of the diagnosis? The prognosis depends purely on how strong you are. Get it? So healthy eating contributes in that direction a lot. So alcohol abuse can also be in this picture. So those who I read from the little information that you sent around Hibbah, about if alcohol is prevented, about 21% or so of cancers can be dealt with. So we can't take it out. I think that people drink alcohol because of the way they like the flavor and maybe the way they like the way they feel after drinking the alcohol. But then nobody really drinks alcohol because they're hungry, and the solution is alcohol. So I always advise people that alcohol is not so essential. It's not an essential food. We can do without it. People argue that the body needs some alcohol and all that. And that they go to the hospital, the doctors say they should take some wine and all that. But then when it comes to these non-communicable conditions, the effect of alcohol from various studies cannot be overruled. And current recommendations on alcohol usage state that any quantity of alcohol can actually cause diseases. So nobody should actually be hiding behind small quantities even. For me, I'll always speak and argue against alcohol intake. And when it comes to the conversation bordering around cancer prevention as well, alcohol should be looked at. And those who are heavily using it, they need help so that they can get out of that situation. Now, treatment effects. So this is where if we care is not taken, not the cancer itself, but the treatment and the way we react or behave after treatment can lead to serious malnutrition. And that malnutrition will become a very major disease that can take the life of the sufferer. So this point are so dear to my heart. Issues like nausea and vomiting. Most of the treatments, the chemotherapy, radiation, and all that, when people go through, they have issues with nausea and vomiting. And even when there's resection, like they have to take portions of the intestines out because of cancer, or even portions of the stomach out because of cancer. The stomach that is left is so small, it can actually trigger vomiting so easily, right? So it's a big issue. If we want good nutrition, anything that would want to expel the food from the system has to be treated with care. So including ginger in meals has proven to help that kind of situation. Potassium from banana helps a lot because potassium helps in muscle contraction and relaxation. And if the smooth muscles can contract and relax so well, then the body is much better to keep, is much more able or better able to keep food in the stomach and stuff like that. Eating dry crackers and can also help keep food in there. And then not drinking so much water during meals can really help deal with the incidence of vomiting. And also learning to sit upright. So especially after meal, you don't lie lazily in the couch, you don't lean forward, you don't go engaging in your exercise regimes immediately after eating and all that, can really help contain the situation of nausea and vomiting. And lack of appetite, the disease itself, I think some of the symptoms could even be or is lack of appetite. And then the treatment modalities also leave sufferers with this kind of symptoms. And so how do we deal with that? Food should go in. First of all, every sufferer or patient has to understand that They need food to even be able to fight the condition, and also to prevent the problem of malnutrition due to inadequate food intake. So you have to encourage yourself that the food is important. If you have to close your nose and swallow something, you get it down there. And approaching eating piecemeal or eating small frequent meals can be a way to deal with this appetite problem. So you don't challenge yourself to big portions. So even if it's just a spoon of the porridge or just a small ladle of rice, you put it in there, and then after a while you put in a little more, and then you'll be able to nourish the body. And one thing that trick that helps a lot in the clinic is to deal with lack of appetite is when patients focus on eating their own favorite meals. I know this doesn't make a lot of sense when you are the one in the situation, but then one of the go-to foods is what you like. Maybe that is what your eye will allow you put into your system, even though the appetite is not there for your body to say they are accepting the food. So deal with your favorites and let's see how it goes. Gradually, the appetite will improve. And there should be no worries about repeating meals. So if you find yourself in this kind of situation and there's only one kind of meal that you can eat, I will advise you that you continue eating that food. With time, the body will be able to adjust, and then you can take in other foods as well. And it's also important to try out other foods. Try out other foods, different types of food, and then it can help you to eat. Now, there's also bitterness in the mouth, which is a big challenge. One of the easiest solutions is to rinse your mouth frequently with water. Some people do well by putting ice cubes in their mouth, and some people do well also by dropping maybe a bit of lemon or lime juice, or cut lime and put in the water and then use it to rinse their mouth, and that acts also like they are drinking water. Any healthy way that you can have water going into your system, it will really help deal with the situation of being bitter in the mouth. Now, there's another big challenge post-surgery. How is feeding handled? Depending on the site of the surgery, there can be very direct impacts on feeding outcomes. If, like I mentioned earlier in an example, if portions of the intestines are taken out, what do you take to prevent issues like dumping syndrome? And that will cause a lot of discomfort, and issues that may lead to bloating and all that, and worsening the surgery site and all that. So we start slowly with fluids and gradually introduce bigger solids. So it has to be a matter of time. But in all this process, a registered dietitian has to be around, making sure that the patient is receiving adequate nutrition. Anytime treatment focuses on other things and takes out nutrition, there can be a bigger problem created. So always let's ensure that we are around to make inputs into the meals. Swallowing difficulties, even if it's a cancer of the throat and your throat is being irradiated and all that, you are not going to find it fun swallowing. So what can go down easily is what you depend on. And it's better to rely on soft and fluid diets and sips and until solids can be tolerable. And there's also this challenge of soreness in the mouth and the throat. So there's a need to be mindful of food temperature when there's issue of sauce, and also the presence of spices, pepper and other spices that can just make sauce painful. We have to just be very mild or with them, or just don't add so much to the food. This is not the time to say that you like soup, pepper soup that has a lot of pepper. No, you have to modify that soup so that it can go down. It's very, very important. So anything that you do to make sure that there's adequate nutrition, it has to be done. You can see that I say these things with a lot of passion, because when we are faced with the situations in the clinic and in people's homes, these are some of the tricks that we use, and it helps us a lot. Now, eating healthy to reduce cancer risk. So this Hibbah, this slide ongoing will deal with the question, to a large extent. Now, leafy vegetables. So vegetables is top on the list. Leafy vegetables should be limitless because they have very low calories. There should be no worries about eating leaves, and that may probably make you gain weight. So we can't even put a cap on the portions. Eat a lot, because the fiber in there can do a whole lot to remove the free radicals from the system, to remove the compounds that may end up attacking the cells and the tissues, push them to the large intestines, and then they come out through the feces. And then there are also chemicals within these leaves, plant chemicals that act as antioxidants as well to protect us. So you do these things, you can actually reduce your risk if there is some risk or some predispositions. And there are certain things in the system that can actually go on and lead to cancers. It can really help you. And eating vegetables can really help in so many ways, in dealing with weight, in dealing with liver conditions that can progress to become liver cancers. If someone has fatty liver, for example, and the diet contains a whole lot of leafy vegetables, they can be able to remove that fat from the liver. And there's no way that fatty liver will progress to cirrhosis and also lead to liver cancers. So having a lot of vegetables is very, very important. The fiber and then the plant compounds in these vegetables are just what we need. The next one is fruits. We need a lot. We need fruits. I'm very careful saying a lot of fruits, because if you abuse fruits, it can also contribute to the development of some of the predisposing factors like overweight and obesity. Too much fruits, and even in kidney disease management, you take a lot of fruits, your potassium is high, it doesn't help with the kidney outcome. So that uncontrolled kidney failure or kidney failure that's not well managed can even end up with kidney cancer. So we have to incorporate fruits the correct way. Eat fruits in moderation, like this coconut, one at a time. If it's oranges, one at a time. Bananas, 2 fingers at a time. But you can eat fruits several times a day, from 1 to about 5 times a day, depending on your composition and your BMI and all that. But then the bottom line is including fruits in a diet really, really helps in cancer prevention. Potassium from these fruits can also help muscles work better, and the fruits build our immune system. They provide, beyond the potassium and the sugar, they provide vitamin C, which will build our immune system, make us stronger, and help us to even be able to fight these conditions. But beware of the portions. I want to end this slide with that, because of the presence of fruit sugar called fructose, which can lead to obesity, can increase blood sugar, can even contribute to fatty liver and all that. And those conditions don't help in cancer prevention or management. Now, relying on plant-based foods is a way to also beat this cancer pandemic. Why do I say so? Because plant-based foods, they provide protein. They provide protein that comes without bad fats. So if you eat beans, you are getting high quality protein in high amounts, abundance, and then there's no saturated fat mixed with it. It's very, very advantageous, because you can actually have a complete, well-balanced meal, not taking in saturated fats, which are bad. They also provide low calories. So if you prepare them well with very little oil and we eat right portions, you take in low calories. One of the things that people do to make them susceptible to the development of cancers is eating too much food. Too many calories. So these plant-based foods come a long way to help us. And we have plant-based milks, almond milk, rice milk, soya milk, and all that, which can be used just like the way we use dairy milk. So if you switch to some of this plant-based stuff, you end up reducing the risk of taking the bad fats and then the high energy form that the animal counterparts provide. And that helps you to manage obesity and then manage any other factors that are associated with the development of cancers. They also come with a lot of fiber. They come with a lot of antioxidants, selenium, and all these compounds. They come with the good vitamins, vitamin E, and all that, and then that helps us. And we can have complete meals and not even add any animal food, but then just relying on plant-based diets, and that can really help. There are not too many people who go plants way or fully plant-based and they become obese. You realize that they even have issues, challenges making up the calories at the end of the day. So it's a good thing to consider if you include plant-based diet. There are movements in the world that encourage people not to eat meat on certain days of the week and all that. Join them. If you must depend on proteins or eat proteins, or which is a must that we must eat proteins, make sure that you're not only taking animal-based proteins all the time. Now, I just want to say a few things about some of these meats so that we can feel free and eat some of these foods, but eat them the right way. Can eating sugar, including refined sugar, cause cancer? Eating sugar doesn't cause cancer. This is true for all types of sugar, including the refined ones. But too much sugar in our diet can make it harder to keep a healthy weight. And I mentioned earlier that being obese is a risk factor. So you don't want to take in too much sugar. Keep it to about 2-3 cubes, a teaspoon or two at a time per meal, and then it's safe. So it's not the mere presence of the sugar, but having too much of it and being overweight and obese increases the risk of many cancers. So too much of the sugar can be the problem rather. Does acrylamide or burnt food cause cancer? So those who like burnt, the under of rice, we call it cancer. If you like eating those things, sometimes we hear that, oh, it can cause cancer. Eating burnt food does not cause cancer. Foods such as burnt toast or crispy potatoes they may have acrylamide, a compound, a chemical, but this is created when certain foods are cooked at high temperatures for a long time. But eating foods that contain that compound will not cause cancer. What we should be worried about or concerned about, to me, should be the portions of these foods so that we don't overindulge, and also not having to eat them too late in the night, for example. That should be what we should be concerned about. Do artificial sweeteners cause cancer? The world's verdict on this is that no, artificial sweeteners don't cause cancer. And so you know them, aspartame and sucralose and all that. They are found in even a lot of products that people don't know, they still take them. But then they are scared of using them as substitutes. Maybe diabetics using them as substitutes. They do not cause cancer in humans. But then there should be controlled use of all these things. They should be prescribed and monitored. And if you suspect any problem, you get screened. If it wants to cause cancer in you, make sure that your doctors detect it early and help you out of the situation. But then in most people, it will not be a problem. Do eggs cause cancer? It's a big no. Eggs are healthy foods that have suffered a lot from people in the world, a lot of negative press and all that. And one of the things they say is egg causes cancer. Eating eggs does not cause cancer. And a lot of studies have looked at the relationship between eggs and different types of cancer, but there's no good evidence that eggs will have even cancer risk. But then, as a dietitian, I advise the correct use or eating of this food. So when it comes to eggs, it's healthier to eat them boiled rather than frying, and it's better not to eat so many eggs at a sitting. And so once we manage these situations well, there should not be any scare relating to eating eggs and then maybe the development of cancer. Canned foods is another area because of the presence of bisphenol A in the lacquer, the tin, the covering of the tin, the inner lining of the tins that they can these foods in. But there's no evidence that that even causes cancer. So you can eat tin foods, but then eat them healthy. Don't depend so much on them because they also have certain preservatives which contains sodium that might not be too healthy for your cardiovascular health. So that should be a take-home message on that. That's eating soy affect cancer risk. Soy products such as tofu and soy milk contain chemicals called isoflavones. These are like the human hormone estrogen, but have much milder effects. That's why some people have wondered if there's a link between soy products and breast cancer, but neither soy products or isoflavones affect cancer risk. But then I still say correct use. Don't eat so much of these things. Don't drink so much because it's plant-based. Like I told you earlier, they may come with fewer calories and have health benefits, but then eating a whole lot can be the problem rather. Now, let's zoom into the field that I'm very, very comfortable with. That's medical nutrition therapy in cancers. So that is purely like using food as treatment. So if you fall sick and you go to the hospital, the doctor will give you, if you have headache, they'll give you paracetamol. Maybe you take 2 tablets 3 times a day. If you come and see me, your treatment is medical nutrition therapy. So in cancers, what are the general considerations? Nutrition therapy must be individualized, taking into account treatment goals in general and also the presence or otherwise of comorbidities. A lot of the time, when people are advising others on food, they just focus on one condition, and in trying to solve that, they create or worsen other conditions. So that's what I mean by we take into account the presence or otherwise of other comorbidities. So if someone has, let's say, breast cancer that has undergone surgery or is undergoing chemo or whatever, and the person is diabetic, we plan the diet taking into account the 2 conditions. The person is obese, we plan taking into account all the conditions that are available. Now, the kind of advice that will be given in that therapy would also depend on the course of treatment, the stage of the cancers and all that. So I cannot really even give any concrete advice right here on this platform. Everything boils down to the individual level. So what we do at that individual is nutrition assessments, take the diet history, what you eat or what you've been eating, and then conduct anthropometry or body measurements, assess body fat levels, muscle levels. And one of the things that happens in cancer is muscle loss. And that situation has to be assessed well. How much of the body mass is muscle, fat, etc. What was it a period of time ago, and what is it now? What is the rate of decline or reduction and all that? Take all that into account, and then we tailor make diet plans. And clinical assessment, what kind of laboratory tests have you done? Is the cancer treatment causing you to lose your red blood cells? Is there the condition of anemia consequent to or secondary to the cancer treatment modality or whatever? Is there a part of the intestine that has been taken that impinges negatively on nutrient absorption? All those factors are considered. So what nutrients are involved? Is it vitamin B12? Is it even the very glucose absorption and all that? And then we see how best to provide good nutrition. Dietary assessment must also pick up issues such as general dietary preferences. So what do they like? What does the patient like? And what does the patient not like? So I might feel that a certain kind of porridge or a certain type of fluid diet would be appropriate, but it doesn't work for the patient because they don't eat those things. And they've never eaten such food from childhood. So if I go and recommend it, to be a bad recommendation. So we take into account what you eat and we modify that, whether there are food allergies or intolerances. So anything that can make stand in the way of good nutrition or adequate food intake, we need to know, and then we tailor make the advice. Now, clear nutritional diagnosis have to be made, which will pave way for the actual intervention. So at the end of the day, whoever the nutritionist or dietitian is should be able to pinpoint what the nutritional gaps are, make a diagnosis, and then tailor make solutions. And this is done at individual levels. I've done diet plans for several cancer patients, both young and old, and I've seen very, very good outcomes. There was a case, a home care case that was losing a lot of weight We went in there, gave adequate protein and all that, planned with some fluid diet, semi-solid diets, got a old lady to start putting on weight again, looking fuller and nicer. And then the old lady's son, who doesn't live in Ghana, wanted a cure for the mother's situation instead of allowing us manage the condition. Brought in somebody who did certain things, and the woman died. It's a case that pains me all the time because we made a lot of progress with that old lady, but then they brought in certain fluid and other therapies that overwhelmed her system, and then we lost her. And I just want to use this platform to appeal to everybody listening that in managing cancers, it doesn't come easy. It is very complex, and so we need a lot of time, and we also have to give the healthcare providers the benefit of the doubt, so that they can put in their expertise to really give a new lease of life to these patients. In the end, a well-balanced meal should be prescribed, which should provide adequate energy, protein, fats, and oils, vitamins, minerals, and water. So if you've heard that, or when you have cancer, you don't eat meat. When you have cancer, you don't eat fish. When you have cancer, you don't eat. If you don't take care, you will end up creating a big problem of malnutrition in the adult person, and that can really be the reason why that patient might be lost sooner than later. Every condition requires well-balanced meals, and then we have to work on the portions, work on the modalities well, so that the meals don't end up causing problems. Now, sorry, there's the issue of nutritional support. It has to be continued. So whoever is the nutritionist should be available, because the needs even vary. The case in question that I was giving an example of, the old lady, her needs were even changing from day to day, and we have to be there reviewing the diet from time to time. So when the patient vomits, what do you do next? When the patient doesn't take the food that he took yesterday well today, what do you do next? So the nutrition support has to be a continuum. It's not something that we'll do one-off and leave it hanging in there. So if you have a cancer patient and there's no nutritionist or registered dietitian, I think you should consider talking to one of us. Now, I just want to talk about calories and protein and how important it is to prevent the muscle loss and the malnutrition associated with cancer treatment or cancers. So we have to get the calculation right. So out of the assessment and all that, we must come up with how much energy or calories the patient requires. And the requirements are quite high. So in stressful diseases like cancers, energy requirements are usually even higher than the norm when people don't have the condition. So it's based on the patient's weight, height, age, gender, activity level, etc. And recommendations are there. There are no specific RDA sets, but then that work with these recommendations: 20 to 30 calories per day per kilogram body weight. And so if somebody weighs 70 kg, it will range between 1750 calories to 2100. So these are figures that registered dietitians understand how to work with, how to translate these figures into actual food portions so that the patient is getting adequate nutrition. And a lot of the time that we see people get cancer, they are treated, they are losing weight, they are becoming very lean, it's because they lose their muscle mass, and adequate protein is required to restore that. So the protein will aid in the formation, maintenance, and repair of muscle and tissues. And it's a vital component of nearly all body cells. So if you don't have enough protein, the basic cells or the basic units of life will be lost. Production of enzymes and the hormones that control the systems will be lost. So we realize that the person will end up losing a lot of other functions that initially were not even related to the cancer, but then because they were not taking enough protein, they end up in that situation. So adequate calculations have to take place. 1.2 to 1.5 gram protein per kilogram body weight is what we usually use. And so if the patient weighs 70 grams, theirs will range from 84 to 105. So I think I've been speaking for so long. I believe there are questions there. So I'll leave you with these final tips. The Mayo Clinic offers some nutrition strategies you can try at home just to make eating a little easier and fun. So you only go and eat if you're a cancer patient or you're undergoing treatment. Take your food, and eating is a whole lot of, let me put it this way, nonsense to you. You don't cherish eating at all. You do. It's like they're worrying you. Number one, eat when you are hungry. So a body that is already full does not need food. So your cells will crave that food if there's true hunger. And keep meals small and eat frequently. Like I said earlier, drink in between meals. So this drink should be energy drinks or drinks that can give you a little more calories. So it can be blended fruits that have a little energy. I'm not saying it, I didn't mention energy drinks in the sense of those caffeinated or non-caffeinated drinks that we have that are energy drinks. Those things are not healthy. Talking about meals or drinks that are food-like and can give you a little more energy. So if you take coconut water, for example, you can really energize yourself. And I have patients that when they drink coconut water before they go for their radiation or chemotherapies, the weakness that follows is minimized. So that's another trick for you. Avoid smells that make you sick. So if you have to stay off the kitchen, stay off, let somebody else prepare the meal, because mixing ingredients and all that come with certain smells that can worsen appetite. And make mealtime an experience you look forward to. So you should just cherish food. Like food like the way I like food, and I'm passionate about food, so that you can eat. And add calorie and protein boosters such as oil. You see, so sometimes if you even have the light soup and there's a little drop of oil in that soup, it will really help you to gain the calories or energy that you need, right? If you use butter, you use cheese, nuts and seeds, these things boost the energy content. And nobody should be worried that I'm mentioning butter and cheese and all that. Either two are known as unhealthy foods. But then when it comes to someone who really needs to eat, we have to apply some of this in moderation so that they can have the ability to gain some food energy and stay healthy as well. So I'll end it there and say a big thank you to Hibbah, to everybody for the wonderful attention. I believe we still have a few minutes on the clock. If there are some questions.
Yes, we do.
But beyond the presentation, I'd like everyone on the call to take down my contacts. We can interact. I have a YouTube channel, CHukwudu Lecture. You can see my short videos and share with other people. You can also go to my website, www.lecturebooks.com. Send me an email at letconsult@gmail.com or get in touch on the phone number there. I also have my books. Those are the pictures I've been showing you all through every slide. If you are interested, get in touch. The hard copies go for 30 Ghana cedis. You can also download them onto your Android devices for just 5 cedis. Thank you very much. And,
thank you so much, Wise.
The floor is open not only for questions, but also for contributions comments from other experts on the call. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Wise. Thank you so much. From your presentation, I'm sure people will agree with me that you don't just like food, but you are really passionate about nutrition. And it also shows that you really have a lot of experience when it comes to managing these diseases. It clearly shows. And as we always do, we ask for the slides for the participants. So your details would be there so that people who have missed it on here can still be able, and I'm sure people will contact you afterwards. Yes, so if you can stop sharing so that we can start with the interaction, the discussion. I've had a few questions. I see one hand up. I'll come to you in a minute. As a lot of 2 or 3 questions you already addressed. So when you were touching on the myths, the only thing you didn't from the questions I had was whether processed meat and cancer, the link between those two is also a myth, because you mentioned things like you said eating eggs don't cause cancer, eating sugar doesn't cause cancer. It is just when you eat it in excess that would lead to overweight and predispose you to cancer. What about processed meat? So I think you didn't touch on that. Then there was another question, I think I put it down. There was someone who sent it directly to me about proteins. So the person says, let me read it. If that's protein, I think that's not directly related. I kind of have lost the question, but the question said, that's protein, what was it? It had to do with protein. Does it lead to, reducing protein lead to weight loss? Something, I might just be paraphrasing the question. So if you can just address these two questions, then we can come to Harriet, who has a hand up, please.
Yeah, sure. So processed meats have been listed by the World Health Organization as #1 carcinogen. So they are associated. They are known as cancer-causing agents. But then, like I told you, eating them right or in moderation should not be a problem. So it's not a mere presence of these things in the diet, but the abuse. So let's keep things normal. Now, the question relating to protein and weight loss. I know that the fat and proteins have made a lot of people overweight and obese. So like meat. So eating them fat-free can even help some people lose weight. When I was in school, one of my lecturers made it very, very point blank to us that as for her, her weight is because she eats a lot of meat. And anytime she stopped eating meat, she uses herself as a guinea pig kind of for us to study and see that, okay, eating a lot of meat can actually make you put on weight. And now proteins form the structure and form of the body. Even our blood has a lot of protein, the enzymes and all that. But then looking at the bone structure and then the muscle structure, proteins are very, very necessary. So people who have lost so much weight, one of the ways we get them to be stronger in their framework and all that is to ensure that their protein nutrition is on point, right? So protein is important. It has a direct link with weight. But then when the fat is there, you build a lot of fat, which
I think we've just lost. Wise, you're on mute. Yeah, you're back. Yeah.
Back, yeah. So proteins have a relationship with body weight. If abuse can lead to the wrong weight gain, but we even use protein to help even patients who have had cancers and they have had better nutrition.
Right. While on that, there was another question about, you did say that people should avoid it at night. Could you just comment briefly on that? And then I have Harriet come in, please.
Yeah. Did you say food at night?
No, protein. Or is it animal protein? You said something about reducing the intake at night.
Okay. Well, maybe I was probably referring to eating food in general at night.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but then if you eat fatty meat in the night, the energy that comes with it because of the fat, you are just going to sleep with it, and you don't have any physical activity that will make you burn it. You do that over time, it can be risk for a lot of diseases. It's not a good thing to be eating things that have high calories or energy in the night. So it doesn't mean that we can't eat protein as part of our supper, but that supper should be eaten early enough, maybe before 7 p.m., later 7 p.m., and then we get going.
Okay, so Harriet, please, do you want to unmute yourself? Because I realize your hand is up. Yes, please.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you very much, CHukwudu and the team. I'm so grateful to be part, and this is a very insightful presentation. First of all, I would like to ask you, Chuks, about do you know of any maybe solution or something that we use usually to clean our vegetables? Because you mentioned vegetables and fruits being the most important part of us to avoid this cancer risks. And even if you are if you are diagnosed of cancer, You mentioned these fruits and vegetables, but looking at the chemical rate in which the fertilizers and co they use for this our fruits lately, we don't really have the organic. It's not specified as in other parts of the world. Here, unless you do your own backyard garden or something, you wouldn't get the organic that you want. Sometimes when you buy the fruit 2 days, 3 days, or it's even too much, within hours it's rotten. So what do you suggest or what do you advise for us to use in cleaning before we consume? Because I know these chemicals, if you don't clean properly, it will go a long way to also be part of this cancer issues and all that. And the second one is an addition. I read it anyway, but I would like to find out from you whether you know anything about that. In terms of the fruit juice the blended fruits that we do in our homes, one of the dietitians, I forgot her name, she suggested that, she's a white lady, she suggested that we should be adding like nuts or peanuts, butter and those things, proteins to our the sugars before we blend, or oats. It's really very nutritious and it makes it balanced rather than the sugars as you already mentioned with the fruits. So I want to find out whether you also know something like that. Things that we can add up to our fruit juice, not just the blended fruits.
Yes. So Harriet, thank you. Thank you for being part of the call. Anytime I invite you, you join, and you are such a big pillar and supporter of me. I'm very grateful. Now, I think what you heard from the dietitian about it's more like improving the nutritional content or properties of the fruits by adding some nuts or a little peanut and stuff like that. It's not a bad idea at all. I will go in for that any day, but I'll only advise caution and moderation in terms of how much you add. So we should be able to converse on an individual level and know that how much of these things that we require or we should be taking. But it's not a bad idea. It makes them more nutritious. And then in this instance whereby there's even the issue of lack of appetite and nausea and all these things that make eating a hell of a time for patients, some of those methods can help improve the energy content of the meals. So we can use a medium of fruits, blended fruit, for example, to deliver very healthy, nutritious meals, which come in fluid format, and then patients can be fed well. So it's a good tip, and I would like everybody to go home with it. Now, the vegetables, first of all, we have to get serious in our countries and apply good agricultural practices, whereby farmers cannot harvest their produce unless the stipulated number of waiting period after spraying is elapsed or has elapsed. We have to really take these conversations to our televisions, to our newspapers, to our radio stations, so that people will stop doing the wrong things, leaving these chemicals that can cause cancers, stomach cancers and all that on the produce. So I really agree with you on that score. It's the vegetable, as per their innate properties, the fiber and the plant chemicals can be protective, but the topical chemicals that are left on them can rather be destructive. So the washing has to be good. At least that's all we can do now. If you receive your vegetables, you wash them well, use a lot of water, use a whole big gallon of water to wash just few pieces of vegetables. The plenty rinsing and changing the water can really help you get rid of the chemicals that are left on the surface. So it's washing. I don't advise use of chemicals and then salt and all that, because salt has its own health challenges, that is hypertension and cardiovascular conditions. So even if you use brine or salt solution, you have to rinse the vegetables with so much water to get rid of all the salt, right? We believe that salt can be dangerous to the life of bacteria and germs, and also clear chemicals and all that. Some people even use food grade soaps to wash some of these things, but some of those also can be avenues to add chemicals to the vegetables. So if you will, make sure that you rinse them. Like I say jokingly, use a whole gallon of water to rinse the vegetables to get rid of whatever you have used. But any way that you can wash your vegetables, employ. The washing is so important. And sometimes the preparation, when we cook, you get rid of some of them. the heat will break down some of them. Some of the breakdown will even result in more dangerous compositions. But then washing is a sure way of preventing them from entering the pot in the first place. Thank you.
Okay, so this is all time will allow us. It's already 7 o'clock and we have a second session that we have to do. So massive thanks to Wise. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise, your experience, and your knowledge with us. Take home for me is that, you know, if you are having a cancer treatment, please do ask. Here in the UK, you should be referred to a dietitian, anyway, registered dietitian. But if you haven't been referred to one, please take it upon yourself to find a registered dietitian to help you with the dietary management. As he explained, it is a very complex process and you need an expert to help you. Your energy requirements will change, your nutrient requirements will change. You don't know how much more you need or less. It is a registered dietitian who would be able to do that for you. So please, let's not mix this with all those concoctions that we don't have evidence-based knowledge to back. You know, if you're working with your health professionals, please do work with your health professionals, follow what they, or work together with them, and you know, hopefully it would improve your health. So on this note, I would like to say a big thank you to everyone. Thank you so much for engaging as always. And please do join us next week for another engaging session. So thank you, Wise. I hope to invite you soon in the next few weeks for another engaging and insightful session. So I'm going to hand it over to Orlando, who's going to take us through our physical activity session. Thank you.
Boom, we are live. Thank you, Dr. Hibbah, for that introduction. And thank you, Dr. Wise, for that amazing seminar. So, as Dr. Hibbah said, this is the exercise portion of today's session. Right now, we're in a 4-week block of exercise. So this is week 3. So let me just turn this up a little bit. So this is week 3. So for today's session, all you need is a nice big space and maybe a chair or sofa, because we have an arm round coming up too, and work on those arms. All right, as well, plenty of water at the ready, because you will need it tonight as well. So, as always, let's start off with a warm-up. We're gonna start off with a 30-second star jump, or we'll say an adapted star jump, okay? We're gonna go side to side. Let's go 30 seconds. Let me turn my tunes up. So everyone's ready to go. Please find a space, find your space for me. Let's get busy, let's get warm. Then we've got adapted star jump to start off. Get ready, 3, 2, 1, go. Let's go, people. Arms to the side, legs to the side. Let's open the body up. Three, 2, 1. Next one, we've got jabs. Okay, jabs only. Let's go. 30 seconds. Jabs. Remember to keep all your punches at your face level, okay? So if you're my height, I'm not going to be punching there, there. It's going to be straight out in front. Keep going. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Uppercuts. Say roll those shoulders. Everyone at home, let's go. Three, 2, 1. Now let's shadow skip, everybody. Shadow skipping. That's it, people. Nice and light. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that's time, people. Give yourself a quick 15-second break. And then boom, we're going straight back into the warm. Okay, my people, back to your spaces. Let's continue this warm-up. Now we're going straight back into shadow skips for 30 seconds. Okay, get ready. 3, 2, let's go on the drop. And 1, go. Now let's go double skips. So you're going to flick the wrist twice for 1 jump. Let's go. Three, 2, 1. Next one. Jab, cross it. Let's go. Keep that going, people. Three, 2, 1. Back to your uppercuts. Keep that going, people. 10 seconds. Three, 2, 1. Okay, last one. Punch across. So open up the chest and the shoulders. We go there. Punch across. Ready, turn those hips. Let's go. Yeah. 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. And rest, people. Okay, quick 20-second rest. Then it's time for round number 1. Okay. 10 seconds, people. Okay, people, game time. Time to step in the ring. All right, so round number 1, we have a combination round. All right, so we'll start off with a set or combination of punches, and then we're going to add to it every minute, every 60 seconds, okay? So nice and easy, okay? We're looking for strength. In our guard, right-handed people here, left-handed people here. Okay. And remember, again, every punch you throw, you're going to punch a mirror image of yourself. All right. So look at your chin, your cheeks, obviously your body shots, look at your own body. All right. So if you're my height, if we're going punching to the face, I'm not going to be punching there or there or there. I'm going to punch right in the direction of my face. All right. So nice and easy. Double jab, cross, jab, cross. Watch again. Double jab, cross, jab, cross. That's your first 60 seconds. And then we will add to it, okay? Let's go, people. Let's get busy now. Everyone find a space. Get ready now. Let's start in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Show me that first part. Let's go. There we go. Remember your body work as well. Remember you turn into the punches. Watch my back foot. Cross. Let's go. Keep working it, people. Seconds. Last 10. 2, 1. Okay, pause the clock. Right. Let's add to it now. So after that last cross, so strong hand, let's add a left uppercut and a right uppercut. So watch the whole sequence. Jab, jab, cross, uppercut, uppercut. Let's go. Second minute, go. Self-confused there. You're working it, people. "20 seconds to go, people. Keep going through that combo. Three, 2, 1. And pause for me, people. Pause. So last edition. Let's add another 2 uppercuts. So watch the sequence. Double jab, cross, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go. Last minute. Let's go. Let's go, people. Keep working it now. Keep working, people. Last 20 seconds. Keep it going. Ten seconds. 2, 1. And there's the bell, people. Back to your corners. Take a 30-second water break. It's round 2. 15 seconds, people. Okay, let's get busy. Let's get back into that ring now, people. All right. So second round, we've got a pyramid round mixed with conditioning and cardio. All right, so punches will stay the same and the exercise will stay the same throughout the 3-minute round. All right, so we're going to pyramid straights. All right, so straights are jabs and crosses. So what we're going to do, we're going to go from 2 all the way up to 10. All right, but we're looking at speed, nice and quick. So we'll start with 2, 1, 2, nice and quick. Then we'll go 4, then 6, 8, 10. Once we've done that, you owe me 10 star jumps for speed. So full star jumps above the head. So here, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 10. Once you hit your 10, you go straight back into your pyramid punches. Start with 2, then 4, all the way to 10 again, and then again, 10 star jumps, nice and quick. All right, let's break a nice sweat now, people. Let's go. Pyramid round with conditioning. Start with the punches, start with 2, work your way to 10, go up in 2s, and then 10 star jumps at the end. Let's go. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Once you do your star jumps, straight back to your punches. Now going, people. 1 minute down, keep it going. Let's go, people, keep working it now. And let's go, Amy, Don, Edward, Redmond, no 11. Catherine, let's go, keep working, people. Push yourself, come on. Coming up to 2 minutes now, people. Keep working through those punches and those star jumps. Let's go, people. Last 30 seconds, come on. For 10 seconds. Three, 2, 1. And there's the bell, people. Back to your corners. Take a well-earned 30-second water break. 10 seconds, people. Then we're straight back in the ring. Okay, we're back. Okay, so round number 3 will be a combination round mixed in with arms. All right, so now bring your seats in, or your chairs, or sofa, or you can even use the floor if you don't have any of those, okay? So again, combo will stay the same, and we're actually going to pyramid the combo as well. Okay, so watch this. I'm going to go here. Combo will stay the same. Jab, cross, jab, right uppercut. We do that 1 time, and then 1 tricep dip. So watch here. Bend the elbows, extend the elbows. Then we need 2 of those combos. Okay. Bam, bam, bam. That's 1. Bam, bam, bam. That's 2. Then we need 2 dips. Okay. Then 3 combos, 3 dips. 4 combos, 4 dips. 5 combos, 5 dips. Okay. And then start right back at 1. All right. Let's go, people. So pyramid, got pyramid, combination, and arms all in 1. Let's work it, people. Take these tunes back. All right, get ready, people. So start with 1 combo, 1 tricep dip. Get ready. 3, 2, 1, go. 1, 2, 1, 2. Bring it on. Five now. 2, 3, 4, 5. Hit 5, start right back at 1. 90 seconds down, 90 seconds to go. Let's go, people. People. 2, 3, 4. Let's go, people. 45 seconds left. Keep working, people. Last 20 seconds. Let's go. Put it in. 5 seconds. 1 time, people. Well done. Take a 30-second water break, and then we'll cool down and stretch off. Well done, people. Tough session tonight, people. Well done for getting through, everybody on Zoom, YouTube, Facebook. Big respect to you tonight. Tough one. All right, people, let's stretch off. Let's pull down, okay? So let's start off by going squat reach. Squat down nice and top, nice. Get to the bottom, palm on the floor, and reach up nice and high. Let's go. Okay, from there, let's go to the neck. So let's get neck side to side. Let's go ear to shoulder. Okay, either arm across the chest. Pull out the elbow. Same arm behind the head, pull down. Change arms, across the chest, pull just beside the elbow. The arm behind the head, pull down. Okay, let's hit the waist. Nice big circles. Get all those little clicks out. Change direction. Front to back. Shake it all off. And that's time, people. Give yourself a round of applause. Well done. Do we have Nicole in the house? I think. CHukwudu in the house?
Yes, I'm here, Orlando.
There you go.
Thank you so
right.
much. Oh, yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Doing good after that. Feeling good. Feeling endorphin
good.
rush.
Nice, that's
all
good.
Those feel-good hormones. Here we go.
That's good to see. That's good to see. And are we expecting another box exercise session next week as well?
Yeah, so the last week of the block will be next week. And then we're going to go into some Pilates, try some Pilates, some stretching. But we might have to put another session on if people want to still go hardcore and kind of do both. So we'll have to look into that. We'll see.
Nice, nice. I'm excited for it. Sounds good. Sounds good. And you guys can also expect us again next week from 6 to 7:30. We'll see you next week. Bye, everyone. Take care.
Bye, everyone. Take care. Take it easy.